during times of war, calamities, or emergencies. That's where we really have to perform. In the past, what you saw was that most of our assets were of the World War II vintage. This is now changing. The Philippine Navy was able to host the 7th ASEAN Chiefs of Navy meeting. And this is the first time that the Philippine Navy has hosted that. I'm sorry that it's beyond my pay scale.
Hi, I'm Carmela Fonbuena. With us today is Vice Admiral Jose Luis Alano, the Flag Officer in Command of the Philippine Navy. We are going to discuss the mission of the Philippine Navy at such a crucial time in the region, the shift of the Armed Forces of the Philippines' focus from internal security to external defense, and the need to upgrade the naval assets of the Philippine Navy so we can face the new challenges. Hello, sir.
Hello,
Afternoon.
Carmela. Good afternoon.
You assumed the post as Navy Chief in December 2012. Your retirement is May 1, 2014. How has it been, sir?
It was an adventure. One wherein it was never boring, but one that is filled with excitement, being able to meet new people, lots of people, go to different places. One that has been full also of challenges.
Sure.
And then, but more importantly, I think one that has also shown how dedicated our sailors and Marines are, wherein they showed their dedication to serve our people with honor.
As Navy Chief, what was the biggest lesson you learned about the country?
The Philippines, it's really an archipelago. There's a lot of diversity and uniqueness in each of these islands. But more importantly, the beauty that our country has and the various resources that are out there, not just on land, but more importantly, in our seas. We live in the Coral Triangle, which has the largest biodiversity throughout the world. So that amounts to a lot of richness. Plus, the possibility of wealth of resources, mineral resources that lay underneath the seabed. And with that poses also a lot of challenges. One, to secure these resources for our people. And talking about the different threats that beget the environment that we have. You see them that it ranges from different issues from internal security, as we are still a nation that is concerned with the internal security and stability from within. Plus, other other issues as well in terms of maritime law enforcement, addressing transnational crimes and terrorism and piracy, through to other issues that affect regional stability due to competition of resources. Plus the other threats as well that are non-man wage caused by disasters, as the Philippines is within an area that is in the typhoon belt and as well as in the ring of fire.
What would be the biggest challenge during your terms?
In terms of, I guess in the operations side, the biggest challenge was ensuring that our Navy units, our naval assets, from the different units of the fleet to the Marines, to our Seabees, are prepared to respond for what our mandate is all about, and that is the safety and security of our people. The Philippine Navy is part of the armed forces of the Philippines, and as such, uh, we are usually our role is to be able to act in terms of during times of war, calamities, or emergencies. That's where we really have to perform. And during times where things are normal and peaceful, it's the times that we have to prepare for these things.
Because the armed forces of the Philippines also recognizes, as you mentioned, sir, that it has to it has to shift its focus from internal security to external defense. So how does that change the role, at least the tasks of the Philippine Navy?
Uh,
Bigger responsibility.
you see now the shift as we are being, things are getting better with the peace framework now and peace agreement that has been that is ongoing and being worked on between issues in southern Philippines, as well as with the insurgency with the CCP NPA dwindling down. We're looking at what really a different defense force should be doing and relegate internal security to the other agencies that would be on the better agencies that would handle these situations. And as we're looking at that, we're trying to look now at becoming a more respectable and partner within the region to ensure the peace and stability within the region.
And let's talk about modernization, sir. How are we in terms of modernizing our naval assets given the new challenges in the region?
As of late, I think the Navy has been getting a lot of attention, and we see a lot of development and progress in terms of the development of the Philippine Navy as part of the armed forces of the Philippines, particularly under this administration, where it has focused itself to ensure the peace and stability not only within the nation but also throughout the region. And with that, we look at certain capabilities.
We
In
have
the past,
Hamiltons now.
yeah,
We're
yes,
acquiring
new
two
helicopters.
frigates.
Then we have new helicopters. In the past, what you saw was that most of our assets were of the World War II vintage. This is now changing, wherein there's a lot of major projects that are out there.
But how far are we, sir, from achieving that minimum credible defense posture?
There is a lot of momentum towards the modernization of the armed forces of the Philippines and the Philippine Navy. Now, having said that, modernization just doesn't happen overnight, and it would take time. It's not just simply as the buying of equipment off the shelf, but something that first you have to ensure that the equipments that you get are really the ones that you need, and in its design and construction would take several years as well. And but more importantly, that you would be able to sustain them. And in sustainment, you would require necessary facilities and training to do all of these things.
In terms of naval assets, sir, we have frigates in the pipeline. What else should we have? Like, are we acquiring a third Hamilton-class cutter?
As far as we are now looking at it, there will be a positive action for getting a third Del Pilar Brigade, as we now call the Hamilton-class cutter.
So we will have if that happens, we'll have 3 Hamilton-class cutters and then 2 new frigates.
Just let me say that the exact numbers are constantly being evaluated and deliberated.
But considering the current threat, sir, how many ships would be ideal?
Again, numbers will always be dependent on what would be the availability. And it's not just about numbers, because numbers of capability is just one of them. It's in strategy formulation, it is a combination of ways and means. The Philippine Navy has involved itself into a strategic development plan. We call it the Philippine Navy Sail Plan. The vision, which was crafted by the leadership of the Navy, which is to become a strong and credible Navy, which our maritime nation can be proud of. That's the vision that has been set. The Philippine Navy, in its implementations of this system, has come up what we call with our maritime security strategy. This we call our active archipelagic defense strategy, wherein it has three major components. This is the maritime situational awareness, the maritime operations, and the maritime cooperation. In the maritime situational awareness, it is all about being able to determine what the environment is, and different threats are out there. And the threats pose themselves from internal security to territorial defense to maritime law enforcement, and as well as natural calamities. You must now be able to monitor it. And how do you monitor it? By having now both a combination of information gathering through networking, as well as through sensors that would be needed to do that. First, you must be able to know what's happening. Secondly, you must be able to respond. And that's now maritime operations. So in maritime operation, it's the ability to respond to the different types of activity. And we have classified that strategy should be one that is both calibrated and tiered. And why tiered? Because we follow it on a rule-based system using the UNCLOS as the basis. And wherein it defines as an archipelago what are your territorial waters, what are inland waters, what are your contiguous zones, what are your exclusive economic zones, and what are the high seas. And each in these areas would have a different type of response, but there are governing laws and regulations that correspond to each of these areas. Then one that is also calibrated as well in terms of what are you up against. Is this just an ordinary a commercial boat, or is this a civil government boat, or is this a military asset? Now, based on that, we are now able to determine exactly what are the type of assets that we would be needing. But having said that, we have to also evaluate what are the assets that we have now. In trying to address it, we have said that we would require certain capabilities to be able to do that response. But in the absence of certain capabilities, what do you need to do? So in addressing that, what we have is the third portion of our strategy, which is maritime cooperation. And in maritime cooperation, it is also not, it cannot only be a single service that should be able to address it. So you have the entire armed forces in terms of jointness in order to address these different types of issues. And not only that, you now raise it to the next level, which is also on a regional and global cooperation. And again, during issues like the Typhoon Yolanda and the earthquake in Bohol, you see an outpouring of assistance and help coming from different nations around the globe.
What's our existing cooperation agreement with our ASEAN neighbors?
We have now a better cooperation between the different ASEAN nations on different types of issues in trying to address this. Like just last year, last September, uh, the Philippine Navy was able to host the 7th ASEAN Chiefs of Navy meeting. And this is the first time that the Philippine Navy has hosted
What
that.
did we achieve there, sir?
I think what has been achieved there is that you see now the coming together of all the Navy chiefs, an increase in the relationship, and a clear understanding on how we are able to work together and and cooperate into doing a common goal or interest.
Given the security environment, how important is it that the Navy chiefs are talking?
I think it is very important as each of us are just a phone call away. During the Yolanda, several assistants came over, like the Navy of Brunei sent their ships, and this I
A
think
lot of assets.
assets were sent on the assistance.
Sir,
of
you
the
mentioned Navy chiefs are just a phone call away. We've seen how cooperation among militaries have assisted the Philippines in terms of disasters. But in terms of misunderstandings at sea, how did this communication mechanism, did somebody telephone somebody and was
Which-
able to stop a misunderstanding at sea?
Actually, as to, I think the latest event in terms of sea events are things that happen, for example, for search and rescue. Uh, when one of the countries would say that they have a fishing boat that is missing or things like that. For example, just of late, during the incident of the Malaysian aircraft MH370, there were requests given to us in terms of these issues. And immediately, the Armed Forces of the Philippines responded and sent out our assets to go out there and look at how we'll be able to be of assistance.
And these relationships between the navies are very helpful in
Yes,
keeping the security situation.
these are very helpful. What we're trying to do is to increase the bond that we have, and it's very important that communications is established. And it's better if you're communicating with somebody you know. So it's not just establishing communications link, but also making personal links within the different organizations, and particularly among the chiefs of Navy. That's why these types of arrangements have been always very fruitful and beneficial, and has redounded to a lot of activities that has further bridged the gap in
Yeah.
terms of addressing different types of issues.
So I wanna go also to the modernization of our bases.
Yes.
There's some focus on Ulugan Bay lately because of some funding to make sure it can host the ships for rewatering, for refueling.
When you have certain assets and
Right.
capability, it's not just having them, but also having a garage. For example, you have a car, a garage to park them, and as well as the garage so that you can conduct certain repairs on them. These are part of the process of the maritime security strategy as to properly place them where should be the position and location of all of these
And
places.
Oyster Bay is the ideal.
And then, yes, there's a base that has been planned for Palawan, because the Philippines is a triangle if you look at it. So you need bases that will be located on, for example, for response and deployment. A base is a installation where you're able to project the necessary capabilities that you need to be able to respond to the different types of needs
What
and requirements.
makes Oyster Bay is the one facing the West Philippine Sea. So that's also considered in choosing it as the operational base.
Yes, because if you're looking at it, man, we have a lot of activities that is happening in the western side of the country. And not just Ulugan Bay, you have also Cavite, Manila Bay, you have Subic, you have the Puro Point, is also an area that is facing the western side of our country, together with other areas as well, like Zamboanga, towards that direction.
Sir, we're finalizing an enhanced defense cooperation agreement with the U.S. How does this come into play in terms of the strategy of the Navy in attaining minimum credible defense posture?
Again, it's all about maritime cooperation, where you look at nations that have the same uh, uh, goals and interests and values. One that promotes freedom, uh, democracy, peace, and stability are all nations that we look into as far as the cooperations that
How
I
badly
think
do we need this new agreement?
the things that we try to work on are areas on trying to ensure that we have an area that is stable and peaceful, that wherein you're able to exercise uh, the freedom of commerce, and this would now benefit all nations in trying to achieve that.
We need that agreement to be able to do this.
Uh, uh, I, that's not within my area. Well, as part of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, and the Philippine Navy is an organization that is there to be able now to execute and perform certain functions. It is not within our role to come up with certain policies.
Because the question in many people's minds is, we already have VFA, MDT, and the...
I'm sorry that it's
yes,
beyond
yes,
my
yes.
pay scale.
The US already, according to Ambassador Kusha, the US helped us in the Ayungin mission. So if
Just let me say that as far as the things that have been happening, what we're trying to do is to ensure that our national interests are being protected. And not just our national interests, but also that the peace and stability in the region continues to be one that would benefit all nations.
Sir, my last question would be, what would be the high point and the low point of your 16-month term as Navy Chief? Highest point.
Highest point, I don't think I had any low point, but I think the highest point was when the Philippine Navy just the other day was institutionalized as part of the performance governance system of the Institute of Solidarity of Asia, uh, wherein as part of our sale plan we were given the institutionalization stage. And this is, I think, a major breakthrough and accomplishment of every sailor and Marines as far as our action to attain our vision of a Navy, that one that can truly serve our people and with the full dedication, and one that our nation can really be proud of.
A message to your successor.
This is I think as far as how the Navy has handled it, in all steps of the way, uh, the Navy has always been able to act as one. And everybody has always been involved in the development of both our strategies, which is our maritime security strategy and our developmental strategy, our SAIL plan. And all of these things, I think you see a continuing of effort. I am actually the 6th flag officer in command in the implementation of the Navy SAIL plan, and it has just gathered tremendous momentum. And in all of these activities, I would just say that the Navy has been an adventure, one that has been exciting, one that you see a lot of beauty around our country, but more importantly, our people. One that you see honorable service that is being rendered, particularly to the Filipino. And all that my message to the next flag officer in command would be to continue that adventure.
Thank you very much, sir, for the interview. This is Carmela Fonbuena. We have been speaking with Vice Admiral Jose Luis Alano, Flag Officer in Command of the Philippine Navy. Thank you for listening.